Hey everybody, this is Brian with Bear Cards 34, back with another show and tell video. This is 1977 Topps. This will be cards number 301 to 400. And as usual, I start off with the Hall of Famers that are in the set for those cards from the 300s right there. So we're going to start things off with my favorite player of all time, Walter Payton. This is his 1977 Topps card. This is one that I bought raw at a card show. Actually, it was a card shop, and then I sent it into PSA and was very happy it came back with an 8. I think I bought that card for $20 years ago at a card shop, and very happy to be able to have that in a slab. I have a Walter Payton run, and that was a fun one to collect right there. So among the Hall of Famers in this portion of the set would include Walter, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 1993. And then we've also got Ray Guy, the great Ray Guy, punter for the Raiders. And Ray Guy was inducted back in 2014. We also have, I don't know if I say his last name right, but Joe Delemelieux. But he was inducted back in 2003. We also have Jan Stenrud. I remember when I first started collecting cards back in 87, I thought it was Jan Stenerud. Anyway, next up, and he was inducted back in 91. Then we got Randy White, one of the all-time great Cowboys, inducted back in 94. We've got Ken Riley, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2023. Well-deserved. I was happy to see him get in. He was a great player. He unfortunately passed away about 3 years before he was inducted. And then we've got Carl Eller, who just always looked scary in his cards. He just looks mean, and he played mean. One of the greats back in 2004 for the induction there. And then we do have a rookie that was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I'll get to him later when I do my player highlights. And then next up, we've got Jim Langer, who was inducted. I think he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. All-Pro card right there. I always loved the 1,000 yarders that we see with the Walter card. I loved when they added those to the card. And also the NFC All-Pro, AFC All-Pros. Those look pretty sweet on there as well. So Jim Langer, back in 1987, was inducted, and he passed away back in 2019. We got Fran Tarkenton, and I love that picture. I think that's a nice action shot. They didn't do a ton of action shots back then, but some of the ones they did were pretty great, and that's a good one right there. So Fran was inducted in 1986. And then I have some notable cards from that portion of the set as well. So I'll get into those ones here. Okay, so first up, we've got Wally Hilgenberg. For me, the big thing with him was that he's Jay Hilgenberg's big brother. He passed away back in 2018 from ALS, unfortunately. And it's kind of interesting. It just seems, that's such a rare disease, and quite a few football players have struggled with that. Most recently, we saw Steve Michael pass away from that. Steve McMichael. Ed Too Tall Jones, one of my favorite players of all time. Loved Ed Too Tall Jones. 3-time All-Pro right there. And then Conrad Dobler. I just remember in NFL Films on him where they did a segment with him being the meanest man in pro football. And so he always stood out to me as well. We've got Jim Plunkett right here. The great Heisman Trophy winning quarterback who won a couple Super Bowls with the Raiders, but he did have after the Patriots, he did have a jump over there for the 49ers for just a little bit. And then Terry Metcalf, when I was a kid collecting, his son Eric Metcalf was one that I collected. Eric's a 2-time All-Pro. Terry was a great player himself, 3-time Pro Bowler. L.C. Greenwood, part of that Steelers dynasty. 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time Super Bowl champ, passed away a little over a decade ago, unfortunately. Then we've got Ahmad Rashad. His rookie card is one that I'm hoping to get one of these days. I've had my eye on that for a little while, but I always knew him as the host of NBA Inside Stuff and the wife of Felicia Rashad from The Cosby Show. I never really knew him as much as a player, but just shortly after his career ended. So I've been a fan of his for a while. Then we got Steve Bartkowski. He was a good quarterback. He was the first pick in the 1975 draft, and he made a couple of Pro Bowls. So he had a good career. Lydell Mitchell. I love that card. I love the 1,000 Yard Club card. He was an awesome player, very underrated. 3-time Pro Bowler, twice led the NFL in receptions, and he was a running back doing that. So pretty impressive there. And another guy who's underrated, this guy right here, Lawrence McCutcheon, another 1,000-yarder right there. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler, and I don't think, people really talk about him all that much these days. Lynn Dickey, longtime quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. And then almost always I like to include Lyle Alzado because he was a character, he was an awesome player, and he has a lot of really good cards. So that's him with the Denver Broncos. And I did want to mention this one right here. This is a Bears card of Craig Clemens, but that is not Craig Clemens. I thought I had a Craig Clemens 1974 rookie card, but it turns out I guess I don't, or if I do, I don't know where it is. But yeah, he is definitely not that guy, and I couldn't find out who that was. It was really weird. So I was looking who else wore number 55, but Doug Buffon of the Bears, he was number 55 before and after this picture was taken. Buffon played from like mid-60s until the end of the 70s, so I'm not sure who that guy is. Anyway, so those are some notable ones. And then for me, being from Utah, I always like to highlight guys from Utah, especially since we don't have a pro team here, and even if we did, I'd still be a Bears fan at this point. But I always like to collect the Utah guys as well. So that's Jim Turner, who went to my alma mater of Utah State. He played a long time. He was 1964 to 1979, made a couple of Pro Bowls, and he passed away a year or two ago, unfortunately. Now he's another guy. I want to get his rookie card. It's from the 60s, and it's more expensive than I would have thought. But I'm definitely going to get one at some point. And then we've got Golden Richards, who also passed away. Played a little bit with the Bears. He was born in Salt Lake City, just like me. Played at BYU and Hawaii. Cowboys receiver, Bears receiver, and a guy that I always liked. And then this guy right here, he went to my alma mater as well. Tony Adams, before my time, but he was a second-team All-American back in 1972 out of Utah State. And there is a story from Utah State where he got injured in a game. It was his last game ever. He got injured, and he ended up in street clothes and was on the sideline. But the team fell behind in the fourth quarter, and so he went back into the locker room and suited back up again and came back out and played, which is kind of a cool Utah State story there. And, he's primarily just a backup quarterback, but he did play with the Chiefs from 75 to 78. He played in the CFL as well, and he played on the Vikings in 1987, that strike year. He was actually on the Vikings team. And it does mention here with California Sun in 1974, he was the World Football League's leading passer. So anyway, that's Tony Adams right there. I'm going to have to ask my dad if he remembers him, because that was back in his day. All right, first up we've got Rick Upchurch. This is his rookie card right here. He was the NFL Players Association Rookie of the Year in 1975. He was a fourth-round pick, which was the 95th pick by Denver. Played his college ball in Minnesota, drafted, like I mentioned, in 1975. He played all 9 of his seasons with the Broncos. And he was a very good wide receiver, and he was a great return man. So when he retired, he was the all-time punt return leader in the history of the NFL. He was... I think it was his second season. Yeah, so I've got a card right here I'll show. So that's his team leader card down there on the far right. But right here you'll notice his 1979 card. The year that came out, he had this record breaker for the most yardage punt returns in a lifetime. So he got that, pretty early. It started in 75, and by 79 he was already the lifetime leader. And then he just added to that in the years afterwards. So he helped the Broncos reach their first Super Bowl, Super Bowl 12, which they lost to the Cowboys. That was during Tony Dorsett's rookie season. He also had a record tie for 4 punt returns for touchdowns in that 76 season, which was quite impressive. And then there he is as well, leading the team in receiving. Nearly got 1,000 yards that season. He is a 5-time All-Pro, and he is also a member of the 70s and 80s All-Decades team. He also, local tie here, he spends time in St. George, Utah, And of note, he was once engaged to former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice back in the 70s. Didn't know that, but read about that when I was kind of looking up information on him as well. But a great return specialist for sure. And I'll go ahead and show his final cards. So he has the 82. He has the All-Pro card right here from 83 that was from the 82 strike shortened season. And then his final card right there, the 1984 Topps card. I love those old early 80s cards. So memory for me was just going to the card shop and picking up cards because they still had them on the shelves from years before. So even though it was like 1987 when my brother and I were going in there collecting, they had cards going all the way back to 1978. And we would buy those along with the new cards, and I'm really glad we did because they still have that same nostalgic feel, even though it was a few years after they came out. All right, next up we've got a guy who, again, this is one of those guys who kind of gets forgotten, but he was a really talented player. He played college ball at Wake Forest, just like my namesake Brian Piccolo. He went undrafted, just like Brian Piccolo. He had a 7-year NFL career. His final 2 years were with the Chiefs. He was slowed down by injuries, and I wonder if he had stayed healthy, he was really making a mark in the NFL. He led all receivers he led all rookies in rushing in 1976, but he didn't even start until the 7th game. And so I think if I remember right, so he had a 4.6 yard average. He rushed for 724 yards, but he didn't even start until week 7. And in 76, they only had 14 games. So he did that in, like 7 games, a lot of that. Notable as a receiver out of the backfield, 41 receptions as a rookie, and he was the first ever rookie to win the MVP for the Jets. He was the AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, and in 1980 he broke the Jets record with 17 receptions in 1 game, which is pretty impressive, especially back then. You'll see him there in his 1980 card. And then you got the 79 Jets team leaders right there with Joe Klecko, Burgess Owens, who lives in Utah these days, and then Wesley Walker, who was a receiver that I really liked growing up. And so I will mention that's Clark's last card right there, but he broke his leg in week 5 of the 1980 season. He had and like I mentioned here, 900 yards the year before. He had 5 yards per carry in 79. And I just wonder, if he hadn't broken his leg in 80, what that would have been like. So in 81, the Jets got Freeman McNeil, who was a really good running back, and he was sent off to the Chiefs and didn't really do much after that at that point. But anyway, a very talented running back, receiver out of the backfield, so I wanted to give him a little highlight there. All right, next up we've got Monty Jackson. The card on the left is his rookie card. He was a second-round pick, 28th overall, which would be a first-rounder these days, from San Diego State back in 1975. Spent his first 3 years with the LA Rams, and then 5 years with the Oakland and LA Raiders. And then his final year, he went back with the Rams and played one last season. As a rookie, he made the all-rookie team. He was the Rams Rookie of the Year, and he, in fact, right here, you'll see this card with Hall of Famer Ken Riley right there. He led the NFC in interceptions. Now, I don't think he led the NFL in interceptions with 10. That's a really, really solid rookie campaign right there. So I will mention as well with him, his best year was that rookie season. Along with those 10 interceptions, he had 3 touchdowns. He was a 2-time All-Pro, and I'll show you on the back of this card. Right here. Some of the cards I noticed from back then, this says Monty works for the Department of Commerce during the off season. It's just strange to think about that the way, the NFL was back then, where you'd have players with jobs during the off season, which, not that they don't do that now, but it's very, very rare, the money they make these days. The interception leader is a rookie, and then, his last handful of cards were with the Raiders right here. That's his final individual card, but he did have this card as well. This is the Football Brothers cards, which I really loved. I think there were 8 sets of brothers that were featured in that top set right there. And that's him with his brother Terry. So Terry played 8 years with the Giants and Seahawks, and a notable thing for him was that he ran back an interception for a touchdown on his first ever NFL play back in the late 70s. So that's kind of cool. But Monty, a very solid player, 2-time All-Pro, and he had an interception in both of the Rams playoff games one year. So that's pretty impressive as well. So there's Monty Jackson. Next up, we've got Chris Barr. He was a second-round pick in '78 out of Penn State. He was the best kicker in the nation and a really good athlete. He made the all-rookie team with the Bengals his first season. He was an All-American once for football, but he was an All-American 3 times for soccer. And he also punted in college. And he played pro soccer with the Philadelphia Atoms back in 1975, and he was the NASL Rookie of the Year before switching over to football. He played 4 years with Cincinnati before signing with the Raiders, and that's kind of how I knew him when I started collecting. He was the kicker for the Raiders. And he also, I will mention with the soccer, he played on the 1972 Olympic soccer team. Like I mentioned with the football brothers, Chris and Matt Barr, they were football brothers as well. And just like Chris, Matt had a long career in the NFL. Just like Chris, he was an All-American playing soccer and kicking. And I will mention he was the Raiders' all-time leading scorer by the time he retired, Chris was. He was a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Raiders. And pretty much every year they would include him in the sets right there. There we have the 1985, 86. And then when I started collecting, that was the first card I ever saw of him when my brother opened up a box of 87 Topps. And then right here, the 88. That was his last card with the Raiders. He did play his final season with the Chargers, which we'll see right there in the 1990 Fleer. And yeah, just a really talented kicker, had a long career. And so there we go. So his first card and his last card right there. And then real quick, just to mention another Chicago Bear of note, anyway, Allen Ellis, 5th-round draft pick, cornerback out of UCLA. Played 8 years with the Bears. His final year in '81, he played with the Chargers. But he made a dent with the Bears while he was there. He was the first Bears cornerback to make a Pro Bowl. That was back in 1977. He passed away in 2013 at the age of 62 in Chicago. And at the time the Bears did the 100 greatest players of all time, he was on that list. And the back of this card mentions Allen plays saxophone. So there you go. Allen Ellis. Now, I definitely have to mention Sammy White. He was a second-round pick out of Grambling State back in 1976. He had a fantastic rookie season, and you can see he was an All-Pro for his rookie year. He played all 10 years with the Vikings. He was the Rookie of the Year, a great receiver and kick returner. And his best game of his rookie season and career, Fran Tarkenton threw him 7 catches, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns in a game. And he also had a game with 3 touchdowns versus the Dolphins as a rookie. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He scored his touchdown in the Super Bowl versus the Raiders. They lost that game, but he had a good game, though. I think he had almost 80 yards that year. And he is a part of the Vikings' 25th anniversary team. He is one of the 50 greatest Vikings. And right here you'll see his in-action card. And right here's his 83 card. And then his final card, I believe, is this one right here. So you have his rookie card and his last card. Terry over at TJ Maxx did a really cool video showing a baseball player's rookie card versus his final card and just the age that they have. I mean, Sammy White's still looking good and young there, but some of those cards I do like to look at where you go back to the rookie and then you look at their final card and you just see the years of growth and wisdom and age catching up to them, and it's kind of cool to kind of look at the snapshot between the two. Next up, we've got John Kolb. He was an excellent tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd-round pick in 1969 out of Oklahoma State, but he didn't have a rookie card until '77. Now, he does have a kind of a pre-rookie card. If you go to Trading Card Database, this one right here is on there because that's him right down there below Bradshaw for the Super Bowl. But I mean, if you look at that card at the right, he just looks like a Pittsburgh Steeler. His first start was in '71. He had a 13-year career, and one of the strongest players in the league. If you look at, I think it's the back of this card, it mentions John can bench press 550 pounds. He not only played in college, he played center and linebacker, and he kind of looks like he could be a linebacker, honestly. He could fit right in there with Jack Ham and Lambert and all those guys. And then there's his final card right there. He does have a 1972 Sunoco Stamps card for people who are like maybe Steelers collectors. 1979 All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ, Steelers Hall of Honor, 50th season all-time team. Just a really talented player. Next up, we've got Mark Van Egan rookie card right here. He was a third-round pick in 1974 out of Colgate. Played as a fullback as a rookie in special teams, but by his third year, he was the primary ball carrier. And I'll just kind of show you real quick. I mean, he basically led the team in rushing every year for many, many years. Very talented running back. His card here, he had 1,000 yards, but they did not include the 1,000-yard club card. And I can't remember if it was Eric at the Card Closet or Terry over at TJ Maxx, but somebody had mentioned maybe they didn't put the 1,000-yard club card there because that's a really good action photo, and maybe they just didn't want to mess with that, because that is a really good picture right there of Van Egan. And he was a very talented player. I have his autograph right here from a Mosaic card that I had picked up, so I've got his auto there. He had 3 1,000-yard seasons. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. He led the AFC in rushing in 1977. Great card of him with Walter Payton right there. And he was the all-time leading rusher in Raiders history by the time he left the team. His final card is this one right here. So the year Marcus Allen came out, you didn't get the cards until the year later. So if people were collecting this hot rookie Marcus Allen, they weren't able to even collect that because it wasn't out, so you'd get a Mark Van Egan card. He spent his final year with the Patriots, and that's his final card right there. He was well known for the snowplow game. The weather was so bad, the score was like 3-0. Somebody came out and plowed a little snow for the Patriots to kick a field goal, but he ran for 100 yards in that game on 22 carries. And his daughter was later a Patriots cheerleader as well. The one rookie in the Hall of Fame, Dave Casper, and I need to get a new rookie card of his. That one's kind of messed up a little bit. But anyway, he was a great tight end, played at Notre Dame, Go Fighting Irish, 1973 national champion and All-American, College Football Hall of Fame as well. His first 2 catches in the NFL were both for touchdowns. He only had 9 catches in his first 2 years, but then in 76, he had, 10 touchdowns. So he had more touchdowns his third season than he did catches his first 2. 5-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro, Super Bowl champ versus the Viking, caught the first touchdown pass of that game. He only had, so they got this card featuring the Super Bowl, but those are his only 3 playing days cards, and I'm not sure why, but a great tight end. And I want to mention Joe Fields, rookie card on the left there. He was a 3-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. He was strong, he was fast, he was a good team leader. And he wrote a book with his former teammate Joe Klecko that they co-wrote it. It's called Nose to Nose, Survival in the Trenches of the NFL. And now, last up, we've got Vince Papale. This is his rookie and one and only card. He got the nickname Rocky after the Sylvester Stallone movie back when he was a player. So the movie, I love the movie and I love the real story, and they are a little different. It's definitely inspired by the true story, but things did happen a little differently. But anyway, he was born February 9th, 1946 in Pennsylvania. In high school, he was a great athlete, especially in track, and he only played 1 year of high school varsity football. Never played college football. He went to St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia on a track scholarship. He got a degree in marketing, graduated in 1968. And in real life, I think in the movie they have him like kind of working part-time at a bar or something like that. But anyway, in real life, he was a teacher and football coach for his junior varsity high school in Prospect Park, Pennsylvania. But when he was 28 years old, he tried out for the Philadelphia Bell of the World League Football. And you can even see it right here. Right here it says played in Seaboard League. And I tried to look up what that meant. and it was the Aston Green Knights. It was a minor league team that was around from 71 to 74, and then it folded in 74 with the WFL. Joe Klecko also, I think, if I remember right, played in the Seaboard League. So anyway, he was 28 years old. He lied about his age and said he was 24. And his stats were he had 9 catches for 121 yards in 74. And then he had 1 catch for 49 yards and a touchdown in 1975. So his 1 catch was a 49-yard touchdown. So my understanding is that Dick Vermeil really was, like in the movie, very instrumental in having him join the team. But they actually saw him with the World League, and so they invited him to, because of his special teams. They were very impressed. So they invited him to an interview with Dick Vermeil. They had a private workout, so it wasn't like this big group of people trying out. But they did have a private workout for him, and he impressed them enough that they invited him to camp. And it was still such a long shot that he would make the team. He was 30 years old, playing with these NFL players. Never played college football. I mean, it's pretty impressive what he was able to do. So as a 30-year-old, he made the team. He was the oldest rookie non-kicker in the history of the NFL. He played 3 years, 76 to 78, played in 41 games. He had 2 fumble recoveries. He had a 15-yard reception, 20 tackles. I've seen a video of him picking up a fumble and running it into the end zone for a touchdown. He was voted special teams captain by his teammates. He won Man of the Year by the Eagles in 78 for his acts of service because of his charities and causes. And he's part of the special teams. He's the Eagles' 75th anniversary team for special teams. And in 1979, before the season, he had a shoulder injury, and so he decided to retire. But after football, he was on TV and radio for almost a decade. He's 79 years old now, still loves his Eagles. I watched an interview with him that was pretty great where he talked about going to the team. And in the camp before the veterans came in, he was just killing it. He was hustling, knocking people over, fierce, and he was really impressing the coaches. But the first day that all the veterans came to camp, he was so intimidated and in awe. And to him, it was like, man, this is Bill Bergey. This is Harold Carmichael. These are my heroes. I love these guys. And now they're here. And he says he started playing a little soft, a little intimidated. And Vermeil pulled him aside and said, hey, what's going on? I need what I saw from you last week. If you want to, he's like, you've got a real shot to make this team, but you've got to really get it together and play like you did last week. And he said that's all he needed to hear. And he went right back to that fierce energy, fighter mentality to make the team. And he did. And he won the city over. He was always a huge Eagles fan. He's still a huge Eagles fan. And that's one of those stories of someone who, was able to have a goal and a dream and actually accomplish it. And it's really, really impressive. So I'm a big fan of his. After I saw the movie, that's when I first heard his story, started watching some things on him, some interviews. Big enough fan that many years ago I picked up, this is one of the first PSA cards I got when I got back into collecting. And just a big fan of his and really happy that they actually made a card for him. I think that is fantastic that Topps actually included him in the set back then, especially going on with, what happened later with the Mark Wahlberg movie and all of that. So that will do it for today. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. These are long videos, so if you stuck it through to the end, I really appreciate it. I make these videos more just because of, my love for the game, the history, the cards, and so if you stuck around, I would imagine you are similar to me in that regard. So I appreciate it. Anyway, it's been a really good football season. My Bears are 9-3 right now, which is shocking. It's hard to even process and believe, but it's been a lot of fun watching them this year. All right, so that will do it for today. I hope everyone is doing well. I'll make one more, maybe 2 more of these from 77 Topps before I'm done. And as always, go Bears. Thanks, everybody.